Well, okay, I'm up on Blackboard right now, and I guess while I'm here, let me just point out that there is a COD interiors template right here that was created in 2020. And I don't, if you have not downloaded that, or if you have downloaded it, that's fine. But I also just tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit cleaner. And I called it a COD Interiors Template 21. So if you would like to use that, if you already have this template downloaded and you're already using it or whatever, that's perfectly fine. This was just maybe just a little cleaner with the text on the in the title blocks. But if you want to download this, again, just right click on it and then save link as, and then scroll down to your USB folder, wherever you're saving it, and then under CAD and templates, just save it there. And I've got it right here, because that's the
Oh, where would we find it on Blackboard?
Oh, well, if you go to classes and then down to templates, it should be right there. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let me push that off. And let's talk about the project at hand. So yeah, we'll do the base building this week, then a partition plan, then a furniture plan, then lighting, and then we'll do ISOs on class 13. And then I think that gives us one or two classes to do X referencing. So this is the floor plan overall, and this is an older building. It's got, generally you know that it's an older building when the base spacing of the columns are 20 feet 6 inches. You know, now in newer buildings they're 30 feet or sometimes even 40 feet. But this is an older building with a grid of columns here, so we'll be doing an array of columns. And then we have an exterior wall here, and this wall here is on a really odd angle. I think it's 27 degrees or something like that. And so we'll talk about that, and then later next week when we put the partitions in, a lot of the partitions are going to match the angle of this wall. So we're going to be drawing a lot of stuff on angles in this week and next. Here's some details, some blow-ups of the corner, the upper left corner, and how the window spacing is, and a typical T section here, or T column. This is actually just the exterior wall, this thick wall here, and then this is the column here embedded into the wall. And then last but not least, there is an entrance here, and it's got some dimensioning here, so we'll look at that today also. So that's our goal for today.
Paul, are we going to do a grid ceiling on this?
I believe we are. Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
we are. Yes.
I'm just asking because I do believe there's a handful of us that are in lighting, taking lighting 1, and we're actually doing this right now.
This building?
Well, not this building, but it's our project where it's for a commercial office building. We have to, you know, it's much more detailed, but essentially it's doing the lighting plan, and part of it is like putting in the grids and everything else. So it's kind of lining up nicely.
Yeah, good. All right, so let me dig in. So I'm just sort of at the start menu on AutoCAD here, and I'm going to create a new document. I'll just click new here. And right away, AutoCAD comes up and is asking me for a template, which I don't want any of those. I want our template. So I'm going to drill down to my jump drive where I'm keeping them on my computer, CAD templates, and I'm going to use the interiors template 21. There it is. So right away, it starts me off on the walls layer, which is where I want to be. And I have down in paper space down here, I have a size landscape, a size portrait, 11 by 17, which is kind of what we've been using before, and 18 by 24 and a 24 by 36. So these are much bigger sheets. And today we're going to be working on the 18 by 24, at least for this project. So that's the tab that we'll be using the most. And I think what we'll do is we'll just delete the other ones when we get to this. So I just wanted to show you quickly the layout of the template. All right, I'm in model space and I am going to dig right in, and I'm going to start with my columns. And my columns are 2 feet by 2 feet. So I'll just start right in with a rectangle. I'll just come up and I'll just type my keyboard and I'll just type either 2 feet or 24, and then I like to hit the tab key, and that sets the X direction, and then it's asking for the Y direction, and that would be in 24 inches as well. So there's my little column right there. And I'm going to make an array. So let me just see here. Before I do, I'm looking at the handout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns in my array. So I'll select the object that I want to array, and then I'll just go over to array and make sure I'm on rectangular array here. And AutoCAD has created 3 rows and 4 columns of my object, my column. So what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. And how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. And I am going to, wait a minute, I did that wrong. 8 columns, oh my goodness, and 5, wait a minute, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, 8 columns, putting numbers in the wrong location, and 5 rows. Okay, there, that looks better. And the distance between them is 20 feet 6 inches. 20 feet 6, and in the other direction, 20 feet 6. There we go. Now, all of these rows are when I create this array, all of these are going to be grouped together so that I can move these columns. But in actuality, we're going to erase a couple of the columns over on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this unassociative. So right now, those columns are associative. That means that they're all grouped together. But if I uncheck that, now they will, when I create the array, each one of them will be independent objects rather than one object all grouped together. So I'll just create my array. And now I can select those objects individually, each of those columns. And let's see, I want to leave 2 columns in the first row, I think. And I want to, let me just move and I want to get rid of 1 column in the second row from the right. So I'm just erasing those. All right, beautiful. So let's go on to building some walls. So there's a couple, all right, let me just go in here and Let me just bring this back. This ribbon on my other screen is getting in my way here. Okay, so let's go back here and just talk about terminology here. So obviously, these are exterior walls of the building. And presumably the building extends further to the left, I would assume. And it extends further down in, on this angled area here. And we're just sort of taking this section of the building. So there's probably like maybe an entrance into the building here, and then there's a corridor that it widens out in this area. And then this wall here is glazed with glass on it, and then this recesses in. So this acts as the front entrance into the space. And then these walls here, they are thinner. They're only 6 inches thick. So that would not be an exterior wall. Exterior wall would not be 6 inches. So presumably these are demising walls or demising partitions that are between tenants or between public spaces. So if this is the entrance here, and you know, this is maybe it's an entrance lobby here, a big entrance lobby, and this entrance is into the suite is off of the lobby. So these walls around the entrance here, those would be called demising partitions or demising walls. And then presumably the corridor would extend on, and then there would be another tenant that is taking this space over here to the left. So the partitions between the walls or partitions between two tenants, those also are demising partitions. So when I say demising partitions, that's what that means. It means partitions that demise between our space, our tenant space here, and someone else's tenant space or public space. So these are all demising. And then next week, when we get into the interior partitions, those will just be partitions or walls. So I just wanted to talk about vocabulary and defining how walls are identified on a drawing. Okay, so I'm going to start in with these demising partitions, and they are 6 inches and they're centered on the columns. So go back here, and I'm just going to zoom in here. So if they're 6 inches, that means they're 3 inches off the center line of the face of the column. So if I go over to my line tool and I have my object or my OSNAP tracking on, I can click line, start here, and then I can go offset 3 inches, which is half of 6, and then go up, and then offset the full distance, which would be 6 inches. And that now I have a 6-inch partition that's centered right on this column. Now, another way I could do it, let me just erase that, is if I didn't want to do that offsetting, I could just go right from the middle, from the midpoint of that column, and just draw a line, and then use offset, and then offset to the left 3 inches, and offset to the right 3 inches, because 3 inches plus 3 inches equals 6 inches. So I'll just offset 3 to the left and to the right, and then I'll just get rid of that guideline that I created, and now I have a nice 6-inch wall. So either way will do it. I just want to, you know, show you multiple ways of getting from A to B. All right, so now I've got that demising partition that goes all the way up, all the way to the exterior walls of the building, which are going to be up here. So all I need to do is, I just do the same thing if I want, or I can copy these up. I could just do copy, and then pick a base point. So I'll pick like that corner of the column, and then just copy up, up, up. And I'm going to do one more. And this one's going to go to the exterior wall. The exterior wall is a little, this will be a little bit longer, but it'll be fun. So there I've got some devising walls. And you know what, while I'm at it, why don't I do this one? So I could, again, just draw the same way that I did before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the mirror tool. We used this, I think, before. I'll just select the walls I want to mirror, hit my space bar or enter. And then the first point of the mirror line will be there. And I'll turn off ortho just to make it easier for you to see. And then I'll just pick that point right there and erase source objects. No. So now I have that one too. And then looking at the plan, there's another wall over here. So I could copy this over there. And you know what, while I'm at it, I will just copy. There's a wall coming up and then there's one over here. Now this is going to be a glazed wall here, meaning glass in it. So I'll just do this one and then copy the glazed wall over to the other walls. And since I'm at it right here, there's a piece of wall. So I'll just copy this to here. Okay. Lovely. And then I'll get this stuff when we come around that side, but just for now, I think this is going to be fine. All right, so now I have the exterior wall. And the exterior wall is 18 feet from the edge of this column down here. So, okay, easily done. I'll just go to, I'll use my line tool. And this time I will do the offsetting, or the object offset tracking, the tracking. So I've got my green line there where I did have it. There it is. And I'll just type 18 feet. And now I'm going to flip over to that next page and I will just follow along and see what it's got there. I'll turn my ortho back on. And I am 2 feet over, so 24 inches, and then up 18 inches, 1'6", and then over 1'6", and then up 1'6", or 18, and then back 3'6". Or what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hover over this line, and then it snaps, AutoCAD snaps to the parallel or perpendicular to that line, and then I can just close. And then this little extra piece of wall here, I can just trim, or if I want, I could just grip edit it and reduce it that way. Either way, I could trim or grip edit. So there is my first little piece of wall. Now I've got some windows. And the first window, well, I have 3 sets of windows, and they are, each of the windows is 3 feet wide. So I'll start by offsetting 3 feet or 36. And then while I'm at it, I've got a 2-foot pier or a part of the exterior wall. So I'll offset 24 inches or 2 feet. And then let's draw some lines. So I'm going to line from here to here and then to here. Those are separate lines. So that's one line and that's a second line. And then I'll just do it on the inside too. So, all right, let's look at the window. The window is set back 9 inches from the inside windowsill. So I'll just offset 9. And the window itself is 6 inches thick. So I'll offset 6. And we have window frames on both sides, like we always do. So I'm just going to O-track over 2 inches. And, oh, what the heck, I'll just do it here too. And then I'll just draw the glazing, which is right at the center line of the window frames. Beautiful. So there is one window and one pier. So I'm going to copy that over. So let's, I'll copy that much of it. I'm not going to copy this line here because this line here will be this line over here. So base point, I'll just pick here. There's 2 windows and there's 3 windows. So now I've got 3 windows. And so let's see, what was this distance? This distance was 2 feet. And I only want to go 1'6" over for that next column. So I'm going to erase that. And I will.
Paul, does it say the window sash, is it 2 inches?
Yeah, it is. In this class, and it's very common, windows and doors are most always 2 inches. So they'll always be, it's just kind of understood that those window frames are 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go down over 18 inches. And then I'm going to come down 18 inches. I'll go over 24 and back up 18 and then over 18 or 1'6", same difference, and then up 18. And I'll do some filleting here to clean this up. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my overall floor plan, and I have these T columns here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them with windows in between each one. So, okay. So let's just do the copying thing like we did before. So I'm going to copy all of this. And again, I'll just start here. So that's 1 I've got already. And then I'll just go over 2, 3, 4, 5. What did I say? Did I say 6? 6. All right. So now I've got my north wall pretty much done. We just have some extra stuff over here that we need to deal with, and we are good. Drawing very few lines too. All right, so the overall length of this wall is 119 feet. So I'm going to draw a guideline that is 119 feet long. I'm going to start at this corner and I'll just go all the way across 119 feet. So that's the corner of our building. So what else have we got? We've got a 5-foot window here, and there's a mullion in the middle, but let's get the 5-foot window. So let's offset 5 feet. There it is. And I'll just draw some lines here. And I'll just draw another line here that it'll be different, but this line's too long, but it's good. I just need that line there. And then let's do something. Let's copy this window here. And I'll start here and go to there. So obviously this window is too short. So I could extend, but let's use stretch. And I think we talked about stretch before, but we don't talk about it that much. And it's a command that I like to use a lot. It's right here up on the Modify Plant panel, and it's just you can also use the keyboard shortcut, which is S. So when I click it, what I need to do is I need to select the objects that I want to stretch. Now, I'm not going to select all of the object. I just want to select the objects with a crossing window. And I want to select just the edges or that part of the window that I want to stretch. So if I just select this much, notice that I don't have the mullion here in my crossing window. I select that, and then and now I'll just hit my space bar, and it's asking for a base point. So I'll pick this point here, and then I will just slide it over until I go perpendicular, or in this case, midpoint. And it has stretched this line and that line over, but it's left this line because I did not include it in my crossing window. So let me undo that. Control Z. And let's do it again. So stretch, and this time I will include that entirely. So what's going to happen is it's going to stretch this line. It's going to stretch this line, the window, the glazing. It'll stretch the bottom line. But this one, because that vertical line is completely within my crossing window, it's going to move that line. So we're extending and moving all at the same time. So I'm done selecting objects. I'll just hit my space bar or enter key. Specify the base point. This time I'll just choose this one, the end point of that line there, and then stretch it over to there, perpendicular, and I'm done. So I could have done it 10 different ways, but I just wanted to show you the stretch command. And if you haven't used it, you should, because it's a valuable command. So there's a mullion right in the middle here. So how do I get that? Well, why don't I just draw a line? I'm just typing L for line, and I'll just go from the midpoint up, and then I'll just offset an inch on both sides to create that center mullion. So offset 1 inch. Why am I offsetting 1 inch? Because the mullion is 2 inches, and I'm going from the center to the left 1 inch, and then the center to the right 1 inch. Now I can get rid of that guideline, and then I can just trim out the glazing there. So now I've got 2 mullions.
Paul, do we get rid of that line that's on the exterior behind
this line here? Yeah, we will.
Just that's your guideline now for
just bear with me. Okay. But yeah, we'll blow that away too. All right. So now I've got a weird angled wall here, and the angle of that wall is 297 degrees from 0. So what is 0? So if this point here is 0, so let me just draw a line. So when I rotate, if I'm going to rotate around this point here, let me just go to rotate here. If this is my end point, and let me turn off ortho, and I'm going and I'm rotating this line. So this right here is 0. And then let me turn on my polar tracking here. So that, well, I already have it set to 27 degrees, but that more or less is 45 degrees. That's 90. That's 180 degrees. This is 270 degrees, and we're going to be going 297 degrees from 0. So it's going, so AutoCAD measures, if I'm doing an angle and I tell it 297 degrees from positive 297 degrees, what it does is it goes all the way to there. If I did a negative angle, it would go this way, counterclockwise. Or yeah, that's counterclockwise. Wait a minute. Well, it would go down and around this way. What is this? This is clockwise, right? Yeah. So this angle is 297 degrees. And thinking forward to next week, and you may or may not have seen the floor plan of it, there's a whole bunch of walls here that are 297 degrees. So what do we do? Well, there's a couple different ways that we can approach this. And I'm going to approach it both ways for you. Today, I'm going to approach it one way. And then next week, I'm going to approach it the other way. And today, we're going to use polar tracking. So in AutoCAD, I think like on the first day or second day of your first AutoCAD class, we talked about polar tracking. At least if you were in my class. If you weren't, I'm sure you talked about it too. And you know, there are some standard settings here: 90, 45, 30. Those are the main ones that you use when you're tracking using polar tracking. But you'll notice that I've got a couple extras here. And what I did was I created some custom tracking angles. So I'm going to go over to tracking settings and show you how to do them. So when and again, so I'm over at polar tracking here, and then I just click tracking settings. This dialog box comes up. And the tab is set to polar tracking here. And you obviously want to make sure that polar tracking is on. And then I'm setting my increment angle to 90 degrees to make my life easier. And then I'm adding some additional angles. So I already have these in on mine, but you will add yours if you don't have it. So you'll just click new, and then you'll type in 27, and then new again, and 117, new again, 207, and new again, 297. Just write those down. Just make sure that you've got them. 27, 117, 207, and 297. Wait, I'll delete one here. Okay, so I'll put in my 297. So I'll click new, and then right there it says 290. I'll put in 297, and then I can just, well, I guess I can hit that. Well, let's just make sure that worked. Yeah, it did. So you might have to close it every time to get the original, to get the additional in. So now my polar tracking is going to track right to these angles that I want it to track at, theoretically, right? Okay, so that weird 297-degree angle is running in this direction, and that wall is 100 feet long. So I'm going to go to my line tool, and I want to make sure now that polar track, not ortho, but polar tracking, I want to be on. And you'll see as I slide around here, boink, there it's locked in. Now that angle there, you'll see there's an angle of 63 degrees. And that angle is from the horizontal to that polar tracking angle. But if you look down near where my cursor is, it says polar, and then it's giving the length of the wall of the line. Right now mine is set to 53'3" and change, 31/32 inches. And then there is a less than sign, which is AutoCAD's representation for an angle. And then it says 297 degrees, right? And then I've got the white and blue box that is sort of an input for me to put in whatever length I want. I can go over and drag to the length, but I'm just going to type in 100 feet, not inches, but feet. I was doing inches the other day. And there is the length of my line, or my wall, 100 feet long. So let me get rid of that little piece there. I don't need that. All right. And what else do we know? Let's just draw a guideline 18 inches. Let's just put the thickness of this wall in here, and we'll erase it later on. So I'm going to offset 18 inches here. Okay, so there's my 100-foot wall.
Paul, I'm sorry, what was that? Did you do the 27-degree polar angle?
No, I did the 297-degree angle.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right, so I've got, so let me look, and I've got another long window here, another 5-foot window here, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bays of windows that are just like this. So I've got this piece and then 5 bays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I have another column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just like we mirrored down here, I'm going to mirror all of this stuff along a mirror line that goes from this corner to this corner. So let's go into the mirror tool, and I'll grab this, oops. And I'm just going to grab all of those walls there and windows. And okay, I'm done selecting objects. I'll hit my space bar or enter key. And then first point of the mirror, I'm going to pick this corner. And the second point will be that corner right there. Erase source objects. No, thank you. And lo and behold, there is my wall. So now I just need to get rid of those extraneous wall pieces of guideline here. Let's just see. So that, and this doesn't look like it's, what this looks like it's doing is it's erasing everything, including that. So I could do that if I want, and then just draw a line, but let me undo that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it over here. But either way will work. Either way is correct. And then, yes.
Can I ask a question? When I do my polar array, I don't get 297 showing up, even when I click on it. It only goes up to 180 on the little box next to the crosshairs.
What only goes to 180?
The degrees.
You can only draw 180 degrees?
No, I can go 360, but it flips back over to 90. Am I making?
You might have to hold back, but
Okay.
So because I know what you're doing, you're actually doing the lesson as I'm doing it right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have 27, 117, 207,
Yeah.
207? And when you created it, was this set to 90 degrees?
Yes.
Okay, we need to talk.
Okay.
I don't think, yeah, let's talk. So, okay, so then also over here, I can erase this and draw a line, or I can fill it here and here. And then let's just see. I guess I need to clean that up. So I'll just fill it that also. Okay, so there is my exterior wall. Looks lovely. And I've got a bunch of demising walls here, but let's look at the demising over here. So I have a wall that's coming perpendicular to this wall here, that a demising wall that's coming out this way. So how big is that wall? Anyone? 6 inches, because it's a demising wall. So I started my line right at the center of that column, and I've got my polar tracking on, and I am going to keep going around until boink, there I am, and I'm drawing a line that's perpendicular to this wall here. or to this face of this column. So you can just see that that's perpendicular. I'm just going to bring it out some distance. Doesn't matter what. And then I'll offset, because this demising wall is 6 inches. I'll offset 3 inches on both sides. 3 inches up, 3 inches down. And I'll just get rid of this guideline that I drew. All right. So now I've got demising partitions that are coming up and across. So let's just do this side. So I will, again, I'm just going to use copy here. And let's see, I've got one here. And I have one here. I only need a little piece of it, but I'll just draw all of it. And while I'm at it, I will copy this over here. Again, you could draw these, but I just like to copy because it's faster for me. So now I'm just going to fillet this, right? So I'll come down here and pick those two. And then come over here, pick those. And that looks pretty good for my demiser. All right. So let's look at our entry. So we've got a glazed entry here, and then it just kind of sets back. We got some double doors that are coming into our space. So let me go down. I'm going to look at the other handout, the other blow up that shows this one here, this area here. And there's a note that says that it is for the glazing in these horizontal glazed areas are 4 feet 5 inches, the width of the glass, not the mullion. So again, I'm going to draw a 2-inch mullion, and I'll just do my O tracking. And I am like, I extend my tracking all the way over because my O tracking doesn't always like to cooperate with me if I just extend it a little way. I need to see that green line, and mine won't pop into view until I go way out beyond where I need to go. So that's kind of why I go so far on mine. So
Mine does that too.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just go out. I just want to make, you just want to make sure that you see that line. So I'll just type 2 and then come up here. And there I have my first mullion. And then the glazing, the width of the glazing is, what was it? 4 foot 5. So 4 foot 5. Oops, I guess I should say offset first, and then 4 foot 5. Good. And then I just have multiple bays of 4 foot 5. So I could do offset 2, offset 4 foot 5, offset 2, offset 4 foot 5, or, you know what? Let's just draw the glass line here. Or what I could do is just sort of copy this over, right? So I will copy that, and then I'll start at the end point of the mullion, the outside end point, and then go to here. So there's 2 bays, 3 bays, and if I did everything correct, 4 bays, and I've got 2 inches there. So that looks lovely. And then now what I'll do is I'll take this glazed wall and copy that. Or I could mirror it too. Let's just have some fun. So I'll just click mirror. You can copy or mirror. World is your oyster. So I'll just pick all of my glazing, and then I'll just go from the midpoint of that column and then just come down or up, either way. And to erase source objects, no. Now I've got that. All right. So now we have, oh, you know what? I also have another glazed wall here. So let's just copy that over. And I'll just go from that corner over. Good. So now all of this is glazed, and then we've got this wonky entrance here. Not wonky, but just very, designy. All right. So it starts off You know what I'm gonna do? Actually, I'm gonna copy this over here. Now, most of it I'm gonna erase, but I'm only copying it so I have this glass line in this first bay of glazing. So it says to me here on the handout that 4'7", I'm going from the face of the column 4'7" to this mullion right here. Well, I know that this is 4'5", and then 2 inches is 4'7". So this mullion right here, this edge of this mullion is right where it needs to be. And this stuff, I'm just going to blow that away. And I'll just take this out too. All right. So now we are going to, let's see, 4'7", and then I guess I should have left that for now. I'll just offset again 2 inches. So now we're going to go from this point, I'm looking at the handout, from this point, we're going to go up on that wonky, strange angle. Okay, no problem. I'll just start there, and then there's the angle right there. So I'm just going to draw. I don't care how long it is right now. I'm just getting the line work in. And then while I'm at it, I'll offset, right? How much? 6 inches, because the glazing is 6 inches thick. So
Paul, what was that? What was the angle? I know it automatically snapped to it, but what is it?
you know what? I don't know. It's a good question. Let's just see. It is the 27 degrees.
Okay.
I should have known that. Yeah. So, all right. So I have this, I have the thickness of my glazed wall here, and now I'm just going to fill it. I'm just typing F for fillet rather than going to the menu there. And now I need to draw this mullion here. Now, this mullion, or this edge of this mullion, remember that we want our mullions to be perpendicular to the glass line. So because it makes it really hard for glazers or for even the manufacturers to build them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down, and I'm not going to here, but I'm going to perpendicular. There, I've snapped to perpendicular to this line here. All right, so now I'll erase this. So this is a funky looking mullion right here, but that's fine. Glazers will build those for us, and they'll do just, they'll do anything we want. All right, so now let me look over at my handout. So I've got a side light here that's 3'7". So I'll just offset 3'7". And then I've got my 6-inch door opening. So I'll offset 6 feet or 72 inches. And then you know what? I'm gonna hold on this dimension here for now. So let me trim this out. And let's just offset 2 inches to get this mullion and that mullion. And now let's look at this. So this wall is going to come up perpendicular to this wall, and it starts right at the corner. So I'm going to come up right here at that corner, and I'm going to come up. There's my my polar tracking is already anticipating that I want to go up, and that angle is 117. But I can tell that it's perpendicular to this line here. So I'm just going to come up some distance, and now I will offset 6 inches that way. And now I'll fillet those. And that one there. And then the last thing I need to do is extend this. So we can do extend a couple ways. There is an extend tool, and you can just type EX to extend, and then I'll just click on that, and it extends right to it. Let me undo that. Or I can use the trim tool right up here. And if I hold my shift key while I'm using the trim tool, it will extend that way too. So either way will work. And by the way, if I click the little arrow next to the trim tool, there is extend. So I can change this to extend if I want to use it a lot, or go to trim. So I like using the keyboard commands, and I do type EX pretty frequently to extend, but you can do it either way. Either way would be correct, of course. All right, so now let's finish this off here. And I've got this mullion that will actually go perpendicular to there. And while I'm in the line tool, I'll just do this one and this one. And then I will go over to the offset tool, and I'll offset 2 inches and get these mullions. That one, that one. So this might be a little column or something here to support the glazing. All right, and then I just need to draw my glass. So on the handout, it says 3 feet. So why didn't I just do it 3 feet? Well, to tell you the truth, let me go to annotate here. I'm just going to draw a dimension here. And I'm going to, oops, it's not, it's, oh my gosh. Gosh, where is my, no. Bear with me. Oh, there it is, aligned. I'm doing a line dimension. Other brain freeze. Okay, so my dimension is really, really, really tiny here, but that's okay. I'm just going to zoom in. Oh, that is saying 3 feet. All right. Well, in actuality, it is 3 feet and a little tiny bit of change. It is not exactly precise. So in this case, what I did was I know that I wanted to align with this corner. So I'm just like not giving that dimension. I'm letting it lie where it lies. Let it be what it is. All right, so let me just finish that off. And now I can pop some doors in here, and I'll just do that.
So when we dimension that little 3-foot section for our homework, it's okay if it's not exactly 3 feet?
You know what? You don't need to dimension that.
Okay.
The only thing that those dimensions are for your edification, just for your understanding.
Oh, so we're only doing the ones on the big overall page, not the, okay.
That's all you need to do. So, all right, so I pulled in a door here. Let's just set it up here. So it's 3-4 by default. I want to make it 3 feet. I want to set my angle to 90 degrees, and I want to make sure that this is at 6 inches, which it is. Good. So now I'm going to move it into place here. And then I'm going to use the rotate tool. And I'll use the hinge point to rotate, and I'll just go, oh, you know what? Let me redo that. Let me change the swing of the door, first of all. And now let's move it so that the hinge is on the mullion, right where we want it to be. Good. Now we can do this. Now I'll rotate. I'll rotate around the hinge point and just go up till it snaps right into place. Beautiful. And now all I need to do is mirror this. So I'll use the mirror tool here. And I want to snap right onto my O tracking there. And that, I believe, is the building shell. Did I miss anything? No. So as I said, we're going to use the 18 by 24 title block. And let me go over to the layout tab here, and I will do a rectangular viewport. Let me set my viewport to the viewports layer, for goodness sake. And then I'm going to, let me just go up here. And I'm not sure what the scale of this will be, but let's just figure it out. Will 1/8 work? 1/8 looks really, really good. So I'm setting my scale to 1/8 inch scale. If you don't know what scale it should be, just keep going, right? 3/32, so that works, but it's a little small. So, but 1/8 looks splendiferous. And I'm going to move. So I'm going to, oops. I'm going to move my plan around, and I'm going to move it a little bit down and to the left so that I have some room for that dimension over here, and then a dimension up here. All right, I've got it where I like it. I'm going to lock my viewport. All right, so now the last thing that I need to do is add a couple dimensions. Let me just go over to my dimension layer right now. And I will do this dimension here. And you'll notice I struggled because I couldn't find the aligned dimension. So let's just talk about aligned dimensions before again. So right here, by default, you'll have linear dimensioning here. So what is linear dimensioning? Linear dimensioning is a dimension that is horizontal or vertical. And if I want to, let's just say I want to dimension the distance between this corner and this corner, and I'm using linear dimensioning. Now watch what's going to happen. So I'll pick that corner, right? And I want this corner. But linear dimensioning is only allowing me to do that dimension or this dimension. And I don't want that, right? If I want this dimension here, I want an aligned dimension. So I was like looking around here for, and of course it's tucked underneath linear. So there's, I can do angles if I want to show an angle or a radius or diameters, but the two that I use the most is linear and aligned. So if I do an aligned dimension, now if I choose this point here and then choose this point here, there it is. I have a nice aligned dimension. So that's what I want to do for this overall. I want to show that as 100 feet. So I will choose aligned dimension, pick that corner and this corner. Oops, I have a little piece of mullion there I need to get rid of. And that doesn't look right at all. Oh, and it's not right. So what did I do wrong here? It's 102.6 and it's supposed to be 100 feet. Well, let's look at the handout. The handout is going from the corner up here to the center line of the demising wall, to the midpoint of this. So that dimension is wrong. So let me just click on this, and I'll just click on this dimension grip right here, and I'm going to move it to the midpoint of this T-shaped column here. And that, because that midpoint aligns with the midpoint of my demising partition. And now let's pray. There it is, 100 feet. So, and that's, and actually that is a really, really common thing when you're measuring spaces in an office type situation. You very often measure to the center line of the demising partition. It's very, very common to do that. You know, while I'm here, let me just erase that little thing there, and then I'll just get rid of these. All right, so your homework for next time is just to do the building shell. That's all you really need to do. And then next week, we're going to get into all of the partitions, and they're on wonky angles. And I'm going to talk more about the polar tracking that we talked about today, but I'm also going to talk about changing your UCS, your user coordinate system. And if you remember, I have it turned off, but I think, you know, on day one of CAD 1, and I know some of you didn't have my CAD 1, but there is a UCS icon here. And for the first time, we'll be using that UCS icon next week. Okay, so that's all I got for you today. All you need to do is the building shell. And then next week, we will take this to the next level. Any questions? You should also, there, I think one bay is also dimensioned on here. You should show that bay as well.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Natalie.
I just had a question about the size of the dimensions, because on the handout, they look pretty large. Are you okay if they're sort of this smaller size?
No, I'm not.
Is it because you're in model and in black model and not in white model when you dimension? That happens.
Was I dimensioning in black model space, or was I dimensioning in white model space?
In white model space, I think you were.
So
The first time when you were checking that 3 foot, you were in black model.
yeah, right, and that's why it was so tiny. Let me just see here. Let's put that at 1/8 inch. Oh, that is really good.
It did just change when you went and changed it in black model space to 1/8 inch. The multi-line text for the ADC, the first line, the 332, it was blank before you had changed it to 1/8 scale in model space, and then when you came back to paper space, it then had that 332.
It did.
Well, you're in paper space now too.
Well, hold
Yeah,
on.
but when he was in paper space before, it was blank. He went to model space, changed it to 1/8 inch, came back to paper space, and then it changed from blank to 332. I was looking
Well,
because
this
when he
wait,
switched to the
this is-
annotate, I had like glanced and I saw that the top like drop down was blank. It just didn't have any words in there.
This is not working for me at all, is it? Because no matter what I set here. Okay, let's put it on standard. It shouldn't be on standard, but let's just put it there. And if I put it on 3/32, okay, let's try this. let me unlock this. Let me change this to 1/4 inch. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my God. You know what I'm doing?
You're
No.
in
You're in
paper
paper
and not
space?
model.
Yes, I'm in paper space. Oh my gosh, it slapped my hand. But this, in fact, is in model space. So, all right, so let's see. I think I need some coffee or something. 'Cause no matter what okay, so let's change the scale to,
Maybe a shot of good vodka, Paul.
well, I try not to do it before 11:30 on weekdays, but
Who cares?
I'm so embarrassed because I'm having a total brain fart right here. And I am,
So everything should be on the model space, right?
absolutely, it
Yeah.
should, yes.
We all do mistakes. Don't worry, Paul.
All right, okay. Here, I will figure this out. I don't want to waste your time with me doing this. I will figure this out and I will email you what I did wrong so that you understand what I did. So you're right.
Did you try it in model space?
I am in model space.
You're in paper.
Well, I'm in white model space.
Oh, you were just in paper again. So
I'm
Okay.
officially in white model space and it's doing the same thing. It is not cooperating with me at all.
Now, do you want us to hand this in?
Yes, I want you to hand it in. And I will, no matter what your dimensions look like, I'm not gonna worry about it. But I will figure this out and I will let you know what problem I had and how to correct it if you have the same problem. And maybe you won't even have the same problem. Maybe I just have some.
What should the numbers be?
No, the numbers are correct. They should be 100. It's just the
But I
size.
mean, in annotate, should it be the 360 standard? Do you want us to use the 360, like 330 seconds?
Well, it
or-
should be 330 seconds, really.
Yeah, okay.
Is what it should be. But when I do that, it is not cooperating with me. I'll figure it out. Okay. And I don't want to screw you guys up any further than I already have. And just sit here for a half an hour and fiddle with it. I have some kind of weird setting on my machine that is not cooperating with me. And I'll figure it out.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So that's it for next week.
So we have to submit this next Tuesday, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
next Tuesday it's due.
Paul, I got stuck on the beginning. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was on the array. Try to select that I can erase some of them, and I just got lost that moment you were showing how to select.
Well, if
That's similar to my question. I didn't have associative to not uncheck.
well, that's okay. If your columns are all associative and they're all acting together, then what you do is just explode the array. Just use the explode tool and explode the array. And then you can select those columns individually.
Isn't there a place I should be able to find associative though? I was
I got it.
Googling.
I got it. Thank you, Paul.
I'm sorry, Ann, what is that?
Oh, I was trying to find associative. Like, shouldn't I have that on my CAD
Uh,
to uncheck?
yeah, you should. Do you
I
not?
could
Are
not
you
find
saying
it.
you don't? Okay, so all right, let me share my screen again.
When I Googled it, it said to go to the commands. but that was throwing me off as well.
So if all right, I've got a thing here I want to create an array of. So I will go over to my home tool, select rectangular array. I'll select this object. And right up here, it says associative.
Okay, let me try. Oh, it is showing up.
Yeah.
Okay, so associative, and how do I know if it's checked or unchecked?
Well,
When it's
see,
blue?
see how it's highlighted? That's
Yeah.
checked. And if it's not highlighted, it's unchecked.
Okay,
But even if it is checked, and so I'll select this array and it's all acting as one. If I want to break it apart, all I need to do is type explode, and now each object is separate.
so we would have to explode it a good portion
No.
of the time.
No.
When I tried to put the line in, it gave me an array of lines between the squares. So that's when I gave up.
All right, Ann. So, all right. Should we go over arrays?
Yeah.
No. Well, I found associative now, so I'm good.
Well, what about these lines that you're talking about?
I can do them now. It's not going to give me an array of lines because
Okay.
I unchecked associative.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And 1 second, you say there is a associate. I don't have this when I go edit on the array. I have the tab here and I see edit source, replace item, and reset array.
Well, but I did that when I was creating the array, during array
Okay.
creation.
Oh, okay. Okay. So first, before I explode them, I need to go close the array and then explode.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Paul, just to confirm, the scale is 1/8?
Yes.
Okay,
On an 18 by 24 title block.
thank you.
You know what? I think that when Jane created this handout, I think that the size of her title block for the handout is smaller. I think it's 8.5 by 11. So she reduced the size of the image here. So let's just do it here. Go over to layout. Let me just quickly do a rectangular array here. And let's just set a scale. Let's say maybe, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. Well, maybe it's a little less.
Yeah, her handout also says not to scale, so.
Does it? Okay, so yeah, I see that. So maybe she just kind of like made it this big. We'll just call it this big. And forgive me my viewports on the dimensions layer. So now let me go over to annotate and do a linear dimension here. And theoretically, that dimension should be bigger. Oh, sorry, let me do an aligned dimension. Yeah. See how that dimension is bigger now? And that's because the scale of this sheet is smaller. So the dimension is bigger. So in actuality, I think this dimension is correct. And the difference is that we're using a different title block. We're using this 18 by 24 title block, which allows us to do this at 1/8 of an inch scale. Whereas the this A size is, you know, well, I just have a small scale, but if it's at 1/16 of an inch or something, that's gonna cause our text to be bigger. So I think that I actually did it right. When you do it, I bet you that your dimension size will be small like this. But I don't know. I will work this out. I'll make sure I understand this correctly. Because yeah, I am thrown a little bit by her dimension scale is so much bigger than what we're showing. All right.